His name synonymous with corporate greed and exploitation. He's a cautionary tale of capitalism's excess. Today, we peel back the layers of one of the richest Americans ever. But how much of the Jay Gould legend is fact and how much is fiction? Hi, everyone. Welcome to this house. Today, we are exploring the home of America's richest mean man, Jay Gould. Make sure to hit that subscribe button so you never miss an exciting episode. Chapter 1. Early Life and Rise to Prominence. Jay Gould was born on March 27, 1836, into a poor farming family in Roxbury, New York. His father, Jay Sr., worked as a tanner and farmer, instilling in young Jay a deep sense of frugality and ambition. With little formal education, Gould was mostly a self-taught autodidact who devoured books on subjects like surveying and mathematics. By the time he was 17, he had even authored his own book, A History of the Town of Roxbury, Vermont. His natural talents were evident early on, and his father wisely allowed him to leave school to work alongside him in the family tanning business. However, by the age of 21, Gould realized that working for wages would never make him the kind of money he desired. So he shifted his focus to speculation, investing in mines, and building his fortune. It was during this time that he honed his ability to spot profitable opportunities and make shrewd investments, setting the stage for his later railroad empire. In 1859, he ventured into the railroad business, initially buying a small interest in the struggling Ohio and Indiana Railroad. But it was his entry into the infamous Erie War of 1867 that truly propelled him to notoriety. Alongside his partners, Daniel Drew and Jim Fisk, Gould went head-to-head with the legendary Cornelius Vanderbilt in a battle for control of the Erie Railroad. It was here that Gould showcased his mastery of stock market manipulation, ruthlessly buying and selling shares to frustrate Vanderbilt's efforts. This battle solidified his reputation as a brilliant but ruthless railroad speculator and laid the groundwork for his future. Empire Building. Chapter 2. Ruthless Business Tactics. Gould's rise to prominence was marked by a series of questionable business practices and cutthroat tactics that made him both feared and reviled. His involvement in the Erie War introduced the world to one of his most infamous strategies, stock watering. He flooded the market with fraudulent shares of Erie Railroad, diluting Vanderbilt's holdings and bringing down its value. This move not only earned him control of the railroad, but also cemented his legacy as a pioneer of financial chicanery. But his manipulative skills extended far beyond the realm of the stock market. Gould was a master of political influence, using bribery and connections to secure favorable legislation and court rulings. This strategy was on full display during the battle for the Erie Railroad, when he bribed New York officials to support his cause. His willingness to exploit every available avenue for profit and power set him apart in an era filled with corrupt businessmen. Gould's reputation for ruthlessness reached its zenith in 1869 with the infamous Black Friday scandal. He and his associates cornered the nation's gold market, manipulating the price and causing widespread financial panic. This reckless gamble not only ruined countless investors, but also tarnished his reputation, solidifying his image as a heartless manipulator. Despite these controversies, Gould's impact on business was undeniable. He was a pioneer of hostile takeovers, using his vast wealth and cunning to buy up large chunks of companies and restructure them for his own gain. He perfected the art of the deal, becoming a master of corporate raiding and leveraged buyouts. These aggressive tactics were a precursor to the cutthroat business practices that would define the 20th century, leaving an indelible mark on the world of finance. Chapter 3. Building the Gould Empire. After losing the battle for the Erie Railroad to Vanderbilt, Gould shifted his focus westward, quickly gaining control of the Union Pacific Railroad and other key transcontinental lines. He established a sprawling new railroad system centered around the Missouri Pacific, which, by 1890, gave him command over half of all railway track in the American Southwest. His empire extended across 10,000 miles, making it one of the largest transportation networks in the world. At the height of his power, Gould's railroad empire transported nearly half of the nation's freight traffic, and almost a third of its passengers. He understood the importance of diversification and synergy, recognizing that transportation and communication were intrinsically linked. To solidify his dominance, he acquired a controlling interest in the Western Union Telegraph Company, quickly transforming it into a national monopoly. This strategic move not only gave him an unparalleled advantage in the communications market, but also provided him with a steady stream of income. Gould's reach extended beyond railroads and telegraphs. He ventured into urban transit as well, taking control of the Manhattan Elevated Railroad in 1886. This move gave him complete control over all elevated train services in New York City, providing him with another lucrative source of revenue. Under his leadership, the elevated trains, affectionately dubbed Gould's Folly by New Yorkers, became a prominent feature of the city's skyline. His empire building was a testament to his relentless drive for expansion and his uncanny ability to predict the future trajectory of industries. By the time of his death, his empire spanned multiple sectors and encompassed vast swaths of the American economy. Chapter 4: Legacy and Later Life. Throughout his life, Jay Gould was reviled by the public, who saw him as a merciless speculator and robber baron. His ruthless tactics and willingness to manipulate markets and exploit labor made him a symbol of the excesses of Gilded Age capitalism. However, historians have a more nuanced view of his legacy. They recognize him as a pragmatic empire builder, who played a significant part in consolidating and expanding America's vital transportation and communication infrastructure. Despite his fearsome reputation, Gould lived a surprisingly private life. He was devoted to his wife, Helen Day Miller, and their 6 children, shunning the lavish parties and high society of the Gilded Age. At the time of his death in 1892, his personal fortune was estimated at $72 million, a sum that made him one of the wealthiest individuals in the country. Today, remnants of Gould's empire live on through various transportation systems and companies. His vision for interconnected networks of railways and communication lines laid the foundation for the modern transportation infrastructure that underpins the United States. While his methods were often unethical and exploitative, his impact on the development of American infrastructure is undeniable. Chapter 5: Additional points on the life and legacy of Jay Gould. As we bring our exploration of Jay Gould's life and legacy to a close, it's essential to consider the more complex realities of this fascinating figure, often remembered solely for his ruthless business tactics and manipulative schemes. Gould's story is also one of innovation, ambition, and a relentless drive for success. A deeper look into a complex figure. Understanding Jay Gould requires looking beyond his notorious reputation as a robber baron, and recognizing him as a financial innovator who pioneered modern corporate raiding and leveraged buyouts. His understanding of complex financial instruments, insider information, and market manipulation was far ahead of his time, forcing Wall Street to eventually create the first financial regulations to curb such practices. The power of information. In an era when information was power, Gould recognized that controlling the flow of news could mean the difference between a successful deal and a ruinous gamble. His hostile takeover of Western Union was as much about dominating the telegraph network as it was about owning the company. By controlling the nation's communication arteries, he could receive market-moving news before his competitors, giving him an information advantage that was invaluable. A different side of the Gilded Age. While the Gilded Age is often remembered for its robber barons and unfettered capitalism, it was also a time of incredible innovation and entrepreneurship. Gould was a product of this era, a time when fortunes were made and lost on the whims of the market and where the boundaries between business and politics were often blurred. An unlikely philanthropist, despite his public image as a ruthless manipulator, Gould was actually a significant philanthropist. Though his charitable contributions were often overshadowed by his notorious business dealings, he donated to institutions such as Columbia University and Bellevue Hospital. But his most significant contribution was to the Union Theological Seminary, where he donated what was at the time the largest single donation the institution had ever received: a life of ambition and family. Much of what is known about Gould comes from his public business dealings. But he was also a devoted husband and father who valued his family above all else. His personal life was a stark contrast to his larger-than-life persona as a ruthless businessman. He married his teenage sweetheart, Helen Day Miller, and they had 6 children together. He was known to be a loving and attentive father who placed great importance on his family's happiness and well-being. The end of an era. Jay Gould's death in 1892 from tuberculosis at the age of 56 marked the symbolic end of an era in American history. He was the quintessential Gilded Age figure who thrived in a time when the rules of capitalism were still being written and the consequences for the wealthy were few. His passing signaled the beginning of the end for the era of unfettered, unregulated capitalism on Wall Street. In the years following his death, public outcry over his manipulative practices and exploitative business tactics helped fuel calls for greater government regulation and oversight of the financial markets, setting the stage for the progressive reforms that would shape the 20th century. Thank you all for watching. I really hope that you enjoyed this video. Which era of American history would you like to see us cover next? Let me know your thoughts down below in the comments section. And while you're there, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you never miss an exciting episode. I would also like to say a special thank you to our supporters, whose names you can see on screen right now. If you would like to see your name on the screen and contribute to the production of these videos, go ahead and join our membership program today. I'll see you next time.